So selling my sneaker collection definitely helped me in becoming financially free and not having any debt, but it wasn't that alone. There's 5 other steps that I want to cover in this video. So let's go ahead and get into it. What is going on, guys? This is Hess from CollectiveKicks.com, and I wanted to bring you guys a video today with top 5 tips that I have personally for becoming debt free and kind of the journey that I took to get to the point where I'm at. Definitely not a video for everybody, so if you guys are not interested in this video, just go ahead and click the related video and maybe find something else. Ultimately, I ended up getting to the position I'm at because I had a little bit of luck on my side, and I also followed some steps along the way that I kind of formulated. Now, this isn't the only way to be able to achieve these sorts of things. There's definitely financial people out there that can guide you guys the best way possible. Dave Ramsey is one that a lot of people mention to me. So some of these steps might be relevant and similar to what he has, but this is just the ones that I use to get to the position that I'm at. One other thing that I want to throw out there as a bonus sort of tip before we get started is to definitely find a mentor in life in general. And you don't have to go to someone to say, will you be my mentor? It's just something that kind of evolves naturally. I have a friend that is pretty financially successful, and is somebody that I've asked a lot of personal questions as we've gotten to know each other through the years, and to help me understand finances and what I should be doing and where I should be getting to. It's a difficult discussion to have with people because disclosing your finances is never something that people really typically want to do traditionally. But once you end up getting comfortable enough to disclose that with people, it can help you grow and to achieve things that you couldn't have probably achieved without any guidance. So before we get into the top 5 tips, there's some background stuff that you guys should know about my financial situation. Let's go ahead and get into that. So before I ended up paying off all of my debt, I had 3 bachelor's degrees that I was paying on. One for myself, business degree, one for my wife, who had a degree in pre-education, I think, and she was going to go back to school and get a master's degree in education to become a teacher, or she was going to go back to school and become a nurse. And if you guys are subscribers to the channel, you guys already know she is a nurse, and that was an accelerated bachelor's program, which was pretty expensive. So I'll tell you guys that between myself and her 2 degrees, we owed close to $100,000 on student loans in the last handful of years that I was able to pay off. So this is definitely a significant chunk of change that we were able to transition and luckily pay down. And we'll get into the tips in just a second. The other things are, we had 2 different auto loans. I had an auto loan for my Acura MDX. I ended up buying the 2016 Toyota Highlander for her. If you guys didn't see, I did a video surprising her, and both of those are now paid off, which is a huge financial achievement as well, because both of them are fairly new vehicles. So definitely a real big plus to be able to have the cars and the student loans paid off. Also, just some other things to note. I've never been really financially savvy, didn't come from a lot of money in my family, so it was definitely something where I had to learn how to save. Was never really good about that. And between us, like, I never had more than probably $5,000 saved in the bank at any given time up until these last handful of years of really just focusing down and trying to understand how I'm going to be able to invest and get to the next level where I need to be. I never really managed my expenses too well. And also the other thing, the only thing that I did that I thought was financially responsible was always making the company match of whatever that 401k is. So if you work for companies, a lot of times they'll do a 6% match or half of 6%. So if you put in 6% of your 401k, they'll put in 3% or 6%. I always made sure I made that, because otherwise you're just giving up free money, and it's really important to make sure that you're getting that match, the company matches you. I always made sure I did that, but that was pretty much it. I never considered like being able to max out my 401k, maxing out my Roth IRA, maxing out a 529 college savings plan for Harrison, having a nest egg in the bank to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. Stuff like those were like dreams, because it's really hard to get to the point where you're able to save so much money to be able to achieve those things when you have all these other debts holding you down. So now I'm at the position where I'm able to like save money the way I'm supposed to be saving for the rest of my life, versus trying to pay debt off before I can start getting to the next phase. So now that this other phase of debt is paid off, I wanted to share with you guys how I was able to achieve this sort of success, I guess, if you will. So now that you guys have the background, let's go ahead and get into my top 5 tips. Tip number 1 is gonna be really, really generic for you guys, but it's to work. It's work, 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 work. Like, you have to put in work in order to make money. If you're only working a 40-hour-a-week job, which is in America considered full-time, but you have Saturdays and Sundays completely free, and you could make more money on those days. You could deliver pizzas on Saturday night, which is always busy. You can wait tables Saturday night, which is always busy. You could bartend, you can become a DJ. You could do so many different things out there nowadays to make money on the side, and that extra income will help you grow your wealth. Being able to make that extra income and put that extra payment down on the card to pay it off early if you have car payments or whatever it might be, just being able to put forth the work to be able to earn the things that you want. It's very important. I think that a lot of times people think, well, I can't ever achieve that because I don't make enough money. Well, the next goal for you is to figure out how you can make more money. There's an Uber driver that ended up driving us the other week, and they were really smart about this. They drove trucks Monday through Friday, and Saturdays and Sundays they drove Uber, and they made the most of their time. It's really important for you guys to put forth your best effort and really grind away and work as best you can. Try to be motivated from within and just make that happen. If you guys put forth the effort, it's going to put you above other people's situations just because you're able to put in the extra work. So try to find a niche, try to find something that you can do to make extra money and work that extra side business and get your hustle on and get to work. So tip number 2 is to budget. If you don't know what your budget is, you need to know. So it's really important. Find a spreadsheet. There's tons of different apps out there, mint.com and everything else that will allow you to put together a budget. You need to have a firm understanding of how much money you have coming in and how much money you have going out every single month, and then get an idea of how much extra money you have every month, because that's the most important part. In order to get to the next level, you have to determine how much extra money you have available that you could put towards these payments that you have your monthly payments on, that all you're doing is paying your minimum on. If you put extra money on the things that you owe payments on, it goes directly to the principal and not to the interest. So it's really important to knock down that principal and pay things off as quick as possible. The only way you're going to be able to do that is if you have an idea of how much extra money you have coming in every month that you can put towards something else that doesn't put you in a financial bind, which is another reason why it's really important to work. Work and budget go hand in hand. If you make a little bit of extra money on the side from that side job, now you have an extra payment every single month that you can put on your car or whatever loans you might have. So coming out of this budget, you definitely need to set a goal on how much money you want to be able to save every single month. If you have a fixed income of, let's say, $2,000 a month, 1,000 of it is all for your bills, and you have $1,000 a month that you can use for play money, you need to figure out how to save at least some of that money so it can go back to those bills on the other side. So maybe save $400 a month extra and have it in a savings account or whatever it might be. You have to figure out what's the proper number for you to be able to start saving every single month. So tip number 3 is out of sight, out of mind. You already worked out the fact that you're working extra shifts now to make extra money. You already worked out the fact that you have a budget and you have X amount of money every month that you need to start saving. So the next thing you need to do is out of sight, out of mind, start putting this money into another savings account. If you're not going to take the money and put it onto extra payments every month, which honestly is really tough to do, to be able to remember to go in and make sure you make that extra payment, or you can set up automatic payments, but what if something comes up? You really need to have some sort of a nest egg of savings, and this is something that worked for me, is to be able to start saving money into a third-party account. So what I mean by that is you have a bank account that has your monthly income that gets deposited into, has all of your debts coming out of that same bank account. Open up another bank account that is not linked to this one, where you can just transfer money instantly from your savings to your checking. You have to use this other account over here that if you had to transfer money, it takes 3 or 5 days to transfer, but really it's not the one you check on all the time. It's basically the savings account that you put in and you just contribute to it every single month, and eventually that money will grow to a nice amount. And since it's out of sight, it's out of mind, and that's the way it works best for me, at least, because if the money stays in my regular bank account, I'll see that I have an extra $500, $1,000 or whatever, and just spend that money instead of if it just went to the other account and then it just keeps saving. So it's really smart to be able to do that, and it's something that I highly recommend. Also, I would recommend using like a Capital One 360 savings plan. Used to be ING, but basically it's a high interest savings account. It's not super high, but it's like 0.75%. versus a regular savings account that's 0.075. So it's definitely significantly higher than a regular savings account, and you might as well make every little dollar and cent count by opening one of those accounts, which are free. So tip number 4 is to pay down your debts. Now this one can be a little bit tricky and definitely overwhelming, because when you get to the point where you have a little bit of a nest egg of money, it's like, what do you do with it? Do you pay down your lowest total dollar amount loan? So if you have a $4,000 loan outstanding, do you pay that one off first? or do you pay off the highest interest rate loan? So if you have a $16,000 loan at 7% and a $3,000 loan at 3%, are you supposed to pay off the 7% loan or whatever first? So there's just so many different ways to tackle that, and it's overwhelming. So what I did is I ended up starting the savings account, like I mentioned to you guys in tip 3, and I saved in that account until I hit $10,000. And I basically made it so I had a baseline of $10,000 in the savings account at any time. And then if I had, let's say, $14,000 in that account, I then took $4,000 and put it towards another loan. Now, again, you can either pay down your lowest item, so a $4,000 loan, or you can pay down the highest interest item if you have the discipline at 7% or whatever it might be. I ended up doing a mix of both. I paid off my car first, which was like 6%, I think, interest, maybe 4%. I don't even remember. But I paid off the car because I just wanted to get clear and free. And I figured my auto loan debt was worse to have than my student loan debt, so I paid it off first. Then I decided to tackle the highest interest rate loans on my wife's student loans, which were like 7%. So let's say you end up paying off one of your debts. What do? Does that mean you can buy a new car with the money that you were spending on that loan? The answer is no. What you need to actually do is take that money that was going into that loan, the $400, $500 that was going into my wife's student loans. I took that money and put it into another loan. So then I was paying down the other loan twice as fast. Once your debt is freed up, it means you have another income that you can use to pay off some other things. And that's what is the most important thing for you to be able to do to keep this, like, snowball, as they call it, rolling. So tip number 5 is definitely where the sneaker game came in for myself, and that is to reevaluate what you value. For me, it was really, really important to be able to do this because I made some really big strides the previous couple years by paying off 2 of my wife's high interest student loans. Then I paid off my car, got her a new car, and had some payments on her car. But at the end of the day, I was like, this is great. I'm in a great spot. We're paying down the other loans at an accelerated rate because of all that extra money that we're now putting on the other loans. So those will be paid off in no time, I was thinking. But then it took me a minute, and I had to reevaluate what I put value on. Buying sneakers is one of those like luxuries as a sneaker YouTuber, I guess, that was part of the job, if you will. It was something that evolved into that. At the end of the day, it was still a lot of money that I was spending on sneakers every single month. And so I did a video on telling you guys I was going to sell my collection. I ended up selling hundreds of pairs of sneakers, and I still have quite a few more that I need to get rid of. But I ended up getting rid of so many pairs of sneakers that I was able to pay off the rest of my student loans that we had and my wife's new car. That was definitely a significant amount of money. I reevaluated what I valued. The sneakers that are sitting in my other room that was the sneaker room, I mean, how much are those really worth? There's definitely a monetary value, but it takes up an extra room in the house, financial burden having them in the house. Will I ever be able to wear all those sneakers? All these things came into mind as I was thinking about this, and the idea that I could sell that and pay off all of my debt so I could start saving for Harrison's future, being able to save for Harrison and his future, as well as invest in myself and my wife's future by maximizing our Roth and our 401k instead of spending all the money every month on other things. It ended up freeing up about $1,000 a month for us extra on top of the $500 I already freed up from the previous year. So that's $1,500 a month that we have coming in now that does not have to go out on loans for cars and student loans that we've had so many of. Like, so do you put all your value on your hobby or your family's future? Do you want to buy a new toy or pay off all your old debt? The fact that those are paid off means that we can now invest $1,500 extra a month into our savings. There's lots of other things that we're able to do now because of that one gesture for me to sell part of my collection to be able to now start saving a lot more every month. So it was kind of a no-brainer situation, and one that evolved into what it did only because I was willing to reevaluate what I put my value on. So that's why this is a really, really important step. Just one more bonus tip for you guys. Don't compare yourself to others. At the end of the day, just do you. If you can't save $1,000 a month and you can only save $100 a month, save that 100. If it's $50 a month, start saving that 50. You have to start somewhere. Hopefully these tips are somewhat helpful for those out there wondering. I know this is not a traditional video for this channel, and hopefully you guys don't mind that. If you guys did like the video, hit the thumbs up. More importantly, if you have other feedback or other tips for other people, leave them in the comment section. I'll be reading those for sure because I want to know what else I can do to better myself and my financial situation. And I'm always looking for that next step for me to be able to plan ahead. It's important to set goals 5-year plan is what I've always worked on since I was 18. Where do I see myself in 5 years from now? How can I achieve that? If I only make it to half that goal, at least I made some forward progress, because at the end of the day, you could stop and be stagnant and not make moves to better yourself and your family situation, or you can put your foot down and you can go out there, work hard, and do everything that you can do to better your financial situation. Be smarter with how you spend your money. You don't need the cable TV with all your sports packages and your DVR. You don't need to smoke those cigarettes all the time and buy that extra booze bottle every month and go out, to eat or whatever it is. There's ways to shave money off of what you spend so you can start saving that extra $50 a month or $100 or $1,000 or whatever it might be. So I think it's important that you guys stay wise out there. Anyways, that's all we have for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching this random Top 5 Tuesday video, but I appreciate you all for the support up to this point, and we will catch you guys for some more videos soon. Peace, guys.